That's not what's going to happen here. All right? We don't know when Caitlin Clark's coming back, and they've been hiding under the veil day to day. Now, I'm going to tell you.
Imagine walking into a WNBA arena, expecting thunder, cheers, and the electrifying magic of Caitlin Clark. But instead, silence, empty seats, echoes bouncing off the walls. A league once filled with hope, now crumbling. Because Caitlin Clark, the very heartbeat of women's basketball, has fallen, once again, to injury. And this time, it feels different. It feels final. Caitlin Clark wasn't just another player. She was the player. The reason fans bought tickets. The reason broadcasters cared. The reason millions tuned in. And yet, just when Indiana Fever needed her most, the unimaginable happened. A second injury. For weeks, the WNBA had been surviving on her presence. Half the stadiums were sold out just because she was playing. Merchandise was flying off shelves. Young girls wore her jersey with pride. But with a single headline, Caitlin Clark out with injury again, everything collapsed. Fans gasped. Social media exploded. Not again. Why her? Is the WNBA hiding something? And suddenly, the questions weren't about wins or losses anymore. They were about survival, because the cold truth. Over 90% of the WNBA's recent revenue came directly or indirectly from Caitlin Clark's presence. Without her, games started looking like ghost towns. Indiana Fever, once full of promise, looked broken. Kelsey Mitchell tried to carry. Sophie Cunningham fought with every ounce of energy. But the spark, the fire, the dream, was gone. When the next Indiana Fever game tipped off, the cameras told a chilling story. Thousands of seats, empty. The arena, which had been electric weeks before, was now silent. Commentators whispered what everyone was thinking. Where are the fans? The answer was brutal. They were at home. Because without Caitlin Clark, people didn't want to show up. One league executive even leaked that, in just one game alone, the WNBA lost nearly $5 million in revenue. Ticket sales plummeted. Merch sales froze. Sponsors started calling the league office, demanding answers. Behind closed doors, whispers grew louder. Is this the beginning of the end? The WNBA had always struggled for mainstream relevance. And just when Caitlin Clark came along, when she single-handedly brought hope, the league couldn't protect her, couldn't keep her healthy, couldn't keep the dream alive. And the fans noticed, not just in Indiana, but in every single WNBA market. Inside the Indiana Fever locker room, the energy was worse than ever. Players were frustrated.
The Caitlin Clark injury situation is officially a mess because not only is there not more clarity, there's more confusion about what her timeline could be. And that's coming on the heels of it seeming to be pretty clear when Clark would return to the court, or about when she would return to the court. It was said on the ESPN broadcast on August 12th that Stephanie White hoped Clark would be back in practice this week. Open portion of practice, Clark is not
Caitlin Clark
seen.
was day-to-day for I don't know how long. You guys have fabricated timelines on her injury many times throughout this season, and the people have just flat out had enough. And it's gone so far.
Some were angry. Others, defeated. Kelsey Mitchell slammed her towel down, muttering, "We can't keep doing this." Sophie Cunningham, one of the few fighting to keep spirits alive, looked around the room. We're more than just one player. But damn, it feels like nobody cares unless she's here. The coach tried to rally them, tried to talk about strategy, defense, rotations, but the truth was undeniable. Morale was destroyed. Even practice sessions felt empty. The media only asked one question: when is Caitlin coming back? The players heard it every single day, and every time, it felt like another dagger, because no matter how hard they played, no matter what they did, without Caitlin, they didn't matter. Then the whispers turned darker. Fans began speculating, is the WNBA hiding the truth about Caitlin's injury?
Obviously, the news that Caitlin had that bone bruise in her left ankle, just how frustrating has it been for her this season, where she's been working back from something and then, something else seemingly always pops up?
It's been really frustrating. I mean, Caitlin wants to play. She's a competitor. She just wants to be on the floor. She just wants to play basketball, and she's in the mindset that she's hungry, right?
Is Caitlin close? How's she coming along?
Dude, I don't know. Everyone keeps asking. Everyone's like, and I'm like, literally, she doesn't even know. It's just like a day by day legit type of thing. And so yeah, she's close, but you also have to remember she could be playing if it wasn't in the WNBA by now, but at this level, with how deep and how good people are nowadays in our league, which is the best it's ever been, you can't just be good. You have to be on top of your game. And so just trying to get her back in game shape, I think, is what they're trying to do. But again, it's literally a day by day. I'm not holding out any information. I just literally don't know.
Some believed the league rushed her return from the first injury, desperate for ratings. Others said the WNBA wasn't protecting her from dangerous fouls. Clips surfaced online. Rough fouls on Caitlin, where referees didn't blow the whistle. Elbows to the face, shoves to the ground. Plays that looked less like basketball and more like targeted hits. And the question exploded. Why is Caitlin Clark always the target? Was it jealousy from other players? Was it poor officiating? Or was the league itself complicit, choosing to look away? Because controversy still brought attention. But now, with Caitlin sidelined for the second time, those whispers turned into rage. Fans were done. Done with excuses. Done with politics. Done with watching their hero get broken down. Imagine this: 12 arenas across America, once buzzing, now empty. Players giving everything but nobody watching. Broadcasters reported record low viewership. Entire highlight reels on ESPN skipped the WNBA altogether.
After suffering a bone bruise in her left ankle, they said there was no timeline or projected return to play, so it's impossible to say if it was impacted. So it remains the same, to give Caitlin as much time needed to ensure she comes back fully healthy, which every day she is working
to
hard
investigate
to do.
WNBA's misleading practices. Let's take a look at what it says, because this is crazy. It's crazy. The issue: fans felt when they purchased tickets believing they watched Caitlin Clark shine on the court. However, that excitement turned into disappointment as misleading injury updates kept fueling false hopes that she'd play. The WNBA and Indiana Fever have repeatedly engaged.
And David Stern and then blocked out all the noises because, man, it's going to lead us all to a big bag of money and more relevance and traction, and they did it. The WNBA has made it clear, and the Indiana Fever, to me, have made it clear, hey, we're not in this all together. Caitlin Clark has her team of people, we have our team of people, and we're in a knockdown, drag-out war. We're going to break Caitlin Clark.
Social media trends. No longer about games only, about Caitlin Clark's injury. Even rival players admitted it. The league doesn't feel the same without her, and that's when people started asking the most terrifying question of all: is the WNBA finished without Caitlin Clark? Then, the video dropped. Caitlin Clark herself, sitting in front of the camera, pale, emotional, fighting tears. Her voice cracked as she said, "I never wanted it to end this way, but right now, I need to step away. For my health, for my future, and for myself." The world froze. Fans sobbed. Clips of little girls in Caitlin jerseys crying went viral. It wasn't just a player stepping away. It was the collapse of hope, the collapse of a league that had tied itself entirely to one star. And with Caitlin's final words, it felt like the WNBA's story might have just ended too. So what happens now? Does Caitlin Clark come back stronger? Or does the WNBA lose the only star who made people believe? One thing's for sure, without her, the league is facing its darkest hour, and maybe its last. What do you think? Basketball fans, can the WNBA survive without Caitlin Clark? Or is this truly the end? Drop your thoughts below, and if you believe Caitlin deserves better, hit that like button. Subscribe, and let's make sure her story is never forgotten.